After my fiancé's car accident scrambled his brain, he blocked everyone, deleted all his contacts, and disappeared. He even sent a message through someone else. Sorry for wasting your time. I'm going to find my true love. I was already soaked from the rain after a long day at work, and this cryptic message only made my mood worse. That irritation lasted until I opened my door to find a drenched man standing there. It was Liam, my fiancé, staring at me with a blank expression. Can I stay here tonight? He asked quietly. I have nowhere else to go. Aren't you supposed to be? I started, but stopped. Right, his parents had been in panic mode when they told me he was missing. His brain wasn't fully working. Best to stay calm for now. I stepped aside and let him in. Liam looked just as awkward as I felt, twisting the hem of his wet shirt in the entryway. Aren't you going to ask my name? He said nervously. What if I'm a bad guy? I just wanted to get back to work. Fine, I said a little dismissively. What's your name? The instant he spoke, his face crumpled and tears welled in his eyes. He looked like a lost puppy. My name's Liam, he sniffled. I was in a car accident. When I woke up, my parents tried to make me marry some stranger I don't even like. I had to run away. As the stranger he doesn't like, I felt a flash of offense. My patience thinned. Oh, I muttered, turning away. Then I felt his hand on my wrist. I'm freezing, he said. Can I stay here a while? I can cook, clean. My head throbbed. A fiancé with amnesia was still, technically, my fiancé. And having him under my roof seemed safer than letting him wander out there and cause trouble. I nodded. Fine. The guest room's there. I'm next door. Let me know if you need anything. I have to finish some work. Watching me leave, Liam's chest warmed. Running away from the wedding had been the best decision of his life. He was already inside her house. After finishing my work, I called Liam's parents to reassure them he was safe. They begged me to keep an eye on him for a while, terrified of upsetting him further. I wanted nothing more than to cancel the engagement altogether. It was a business arrangement, not a love match. His talk of true love made me feel like a third wheel. But my parents reminded me, he's been through trauma. It's not right to abandon him now. Sighing, I accepted that my amnesiac fiancé was now temporarily my roommate. When I finally entered my bedroom, Liam was there, wrapped in nothing but a towel. You said I could come to you if I needed anything, he stammered. I don't have pajamas. A single drop of water ran down his chest, disappearing beneath the towel, and suddenly the room felt very hot. I quickly stepped back and pulled out a set of my dad's pajamas from the closet. A boy should be careful in a stranger's house, I said, voice a little high. Not everyone is as upstanding as I am, I finished, handing them to him. Liam took them, eyelashes casting shadows on his cheeks, a flicker of disappointment crossing his face. Oh, he murmured. You actually have some. I laughed softly. Luckily, my dad had multiple sets. I grabbed a silk pair and a cotton pair. Is this enough? I even have men's underwear if you need it, I added, shoving the extras at him. Liam looked completely stunned, his smile frozen in place, and he forgot to say thank you. The next morning, the smell of something delicious drifted under my door, making my empty stomach growl. I opened it to find Liam in the kitchen, flipping something in a pan. He wore one of the frilly aprons my housekeeper used, the thin strap striking against the broad muscles of his bare back. The sight only made me hungrier. He noticed me and turned, sunlight framing him in a golden glow, his smile dazzling. You're awake. I made breakfast to thank you for letting me stay. I glanced at the clock, my heart sinking. I have a meeting at the office. I'm going to be late. His smile faltered, then brightened. Go get ready. I'll pack it up for you. I can drive you, and you can eat on the way. The ride was surprisingly smooth, and for a moment, I forgot all the stress Liam had caused. The food was incredible, the sunlight warm, and the chaos of the morning faded. Then my dad called. Without thinking, I answered, and the call connected automatically to the car's Bluetooth. His voice filled the space. Honey, about that boy you're engaged to? I hit and call immediately. Liam slammed on the brakes, and my carefully held dumplings tumbled onto the floor mat. You're getting married? He asked, voice tight as he started driving again. I stared at the ruined breakfast, my world feeling gray. Not anymore, I snapped. It's off. Oh. I was too focused on the pile of dumplings to notice the huge smile spreading across his face, eyes crinkling with amusement. I began to suspect this whole true love story might just be an excuse he'd invented to escape marrying me. He didn't leave the house, though. Instead, he filled his days with online shopping for clothes and then parading around the apartment in them for an audience of zero. His schedule became more regimented than mine. Deep cleaning on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, trying new recipes on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and resting on Sundays. My housekeeper sent a panicked message. "Miss Amelia, the house has been spotless, and the fridge is always full. Am I being replaced?" It took me 10 minutes to reassure her that her job was safe. 2 weeks later, Liam asked an important question on his day off. What kind of guys do girls like? Living with him, I'd started to see that he was genuinely kind. I'd come to think of him as a good friend. Seeing him take his quest for true love seriously made me happy to help. "I think girls like contrast," I said. "Like, you look slim, but then you take your shirt off, bam, 8-pack. Or, you're amazing in the kitchen but can also mix a killer cocktail. Or, your hair is dark and soft, but then you turn and reveal 2 cartilage piercings. Secretly punk." I went on for a while, lost in the art of contrast. When I finally looked up, Liam was quietly closing the Notes app on his phone. He nodded seriously. "Got it. So that's what you like." Then he announced it was lunchtime and disappeared into the kitchen. I stared after him, wanting to say the truth. The way he was now was perfectly fine. The right person would like him as he was. But the words never came out. After that, Liam became almost never home. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays were for the gym. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays were for bartending classes. My company was going through a busy period, so I was rarely home for meals anyway. One night, after a long negotiation, I realized I'd left a signed contract at home. My assistant, Mark, offered to come with me so he could work on revisions overnight. I agreed immediately, then remembered my house guest. Liam and I would need to break off the engagement eventually, and I didn't need another misunderstanding. I frantically texted him. "Liam, are you home? I have to bring someone from work in a few minutes. Can you hide? Also, put away any of your stuff in the living room. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea." A dozen messages later, still no reply. My heart raced as I opened the door with Mark behind me. Relief washed over me. The apartment was empty, and all of Liam's things were gone. I grabbed the files from my home office and sent Mark off. I finally exhaled. I knocked on Liam's door.
"Liam?
"Are you awake?"
He's gone. You can come out now."
"And thanks for tidying up." A loud crash echoed from inside, like something heavy hitting the floor. My hand froze on the door. All I could hear was ragged breathing. "Liam! Liam!" I pounded again. The lock clicked, and the door creaked open. The smell of alcohol hit me instantly. Liam stood there, eyes red-rimmed. "I'm fine," he slurred. "Just knocked over a bottle." "Are you sure?" I asked cautiously, stepping closer. "Have you been drinking?" Remembering his quest for love, my inner gossip columnist flared. "Trouble in paradise? Heartbreak? Want to talk about it?" He looked down at me, towering and intense. My chest tightened, and I instinctively took a step back, but he grabbed my hand, holding it firmly. "I learned how to make cocktails," he murmured. "But she doesn't seem to like drinking. I got an 8-pack, but she barely noticed."
He pulled my hand to his chest.
"I even got the piercings. Amelia, did you see?" His words hung in the air, then all the fight seemed to leave him. He wrapped his arms around me, resting his chin on my shoulder, pressing his full weight against me. "You're just drunk, Liam," I snapped, smacking the back of his head.
He whimpered against me.
"Amelia, my head hurts, my heart hurts. I like. His warm breath against my ear sent an involuntary shiver down my spine. My body reacted, but my heart grew colder. My phone buzzed, yanking me out of the moment. It was Mark with the revised contract ready for review. Work couldn't wait. Worried Liam might collapse further, I half-dragged him to my office, like carrying a heavy, clumsy doll. I settled him into the armchair. "Sit," I commanded. "Okay," he mumbled, collapsing into it. As I turned away, his hand shot out, gripping my sleeve. "Where are you going?" "To work," I said firmly. 5 minutes later, I looked up from my desk. He was staring at me, gaze hazy yet intense. 10 minutes after that, he somehow made it to the bookshelf. On the top shelf was a detailed model airplane, a gift from him after our engagement. "You kept this?" he asked, the fog in his eyes lifting for a moment. "Yes," I replied. He didn't answer directly. So, you remember. So I remembered. What did that mean? I finished my work but couldn't sleep. My first encounter with Liam hadn't been at our arranged engagement dinner. I had just taken over my family's company, and the older male executives didn't take me seriously. I had spent an entire afternoon on calls, trying to delegate a task, arguments following me from the airport lounge to the plane. Finally, I hung up, frustrated, just as the flight attendant announced the final call to turn off devices. My phone went dark, and an overwhelming loneliness hit me. A wave of self-pity surged. Why were they making things so difficult? A lump formed in my throat, tears stinging my eyes. I fumbled in my oversized bag for a tissue, but it was stuffed with notebooks, files, and a laptop, a perfect metaphor for my chaotic life. Before I could find one, a hand appeared, holding a tissue. The wrist was adorned with a sleek, expensive watch, the suit cuff perfectly pressed. "I think you might need this," a deep, steady voice said. I looked up, meeting a pair of kind, intelligent eyes. Resting on the tissue was a single mint. I wiped my eyes and popped the mint into my mouth. The cool sweetness calmed the storm inside me. Later, I walked into the meeting and crushed it, winning over every skeptical executive. I never forgot those eyes. Weeks later, I reluctantly entered the private dining room for our arranged engagement dinner. A man laughing and chatting with my father looked up, and our eyes met again. "Oh, so his name is Liam." And I thought, if it's him, maybe I'm willing to try. The memory of that drunk, confused Liam filled him with secret joy. That airplane model had been from a childhood competition they had both entered. He had made one, and Amelia had made one too. After his accident, his mother told him he had given his model to his future fiancé. He had thought he must have been foolish. How could he have given away something so important? As a child, Liam had been shy, chubby, and stuttered. Other kids teased him, and no one wanted to partner with him for the model airplane competition, except Amelia. She was vibrant, competitive, bursting with ideas. When he struggled to speak, she listened patiently, never interrupting. Sometimes she praised him. "Liam, that's brilliant. Great idea." Other times she corrected him. "No, that won't work. The plane won't fly like that." They won first place. For the first time, he had ever won anything. Slowly, he found his voice. Other kids forgot about his stutter, but Liam never forgot Amelia's bright, encouraging eyes. That secret childhood crush had grown over the years, finally blooming the morning he woke from his accident. Being forced into a business marriage had collapsed his world, but the accident had shaken him awake. It wasn't too late. Liam's single sentence kept me tossing and turning all night. He remembered, which meant he wouldn't be staying here any longer. Our confusing, temporary cohabitation was over. When the smell of breakfast drifted under my door, the unexpected sadness hit me hard. I pushed the door open, sleep-heavy eyes meeting Liam's energetic, cheerful gaze. "Morning," he chirped, unable to hide his excitement. Is he really this happy about leaving? I thought, shuffling to the table. My heart sank at the sight of the breakfast he had prepared. Goodbye, crystal dumplings. Goodbye, soy milk, crullers, and custard buns. "So, you do remember, right?" he asked suddenly. Was he testing me? I felt a surge of petulance. What does it matter if I remember? The important thing is that you remember. Really? His eyes crinkled, and a wide, irrepressible grin spread across his face. "So, the fact that I'm living with you now means your engagement is about to be called off, right?" The sudden topic change threw me. What did one have to do with the other? But it was clear he remembered. He practically vibrated with eagerness to end our engagement. I swallowed a final gulp of soy milk, mood sinking lower. "Fine. We'll call it off. But can you please stop smiling like that? It's obnoxious." Memory returned, but emotional intelligence clearly lagged. He ignored me, still beaming. "So," he said, winking, "our relationship is about to change, isn't it?" Ugh. He lives in my house, eats my food, and is this blatant about wanting out. Are you insane? I muttered, dizzy. "What?" He leaned closer, eyes sparkling. "Maybe," he said slowly, "insanely happy." He was mocking me. Absolutely. I slammed my chopsticks down, words of a mental tirade forming. "Liam," I shouted. He calmly picked them up, eyes soft. "Yes." It felt like punching a pillow. I faltered. My work phone rang, saving me. I scrambled to answer. "Miss Ross," my assistant's frantic voice called over chaos. The department manager you fired for embezzlement is on the roof. He's threatening to jump. Everything else vanished. Did you call the police? I said, grabbing my bag. I'm on my way. Amelia? Liam stood, genuine concern on his face. I have an emergency at the office. I snapped, pulling on my shoes. You can go wherever you want. I didn't see the hurt in his expression as I left. He knew he'd done something wrong but couldn't figure out what. The situation was worse than I'd imagined. A crowd had gathered below the building, watching the fired employee scream from the rooftop, while his parents wailed, blaming the cruel, heartless company for driving their son to this. Their cries grated on me, but I forced a deep breath and put on a professional smile, trying to disperse the onlookers. Then, the man's parents spotted me, their bloodshot eyes fixed on me as they lunged, grabbing my arms. It's you. You're his boss, the mother shrieked. Why did you push him so hard? It's not easy for him. If my son dies, I'll never forgive you, the father roared. Their grip was like iron. I struggled, but the more I fought, the angrier they became. Why don't you die instead? The father screamed, pulling a knife from his jacket. The blade glinted in the sun, moving closer. I squeezed my eyes shut in terror. A grunt sounded, but the pain I expected never came. I opened my eyes. Liam was standing in front of me, shielding me from the blade. Security rushed in to subdue the parents. Amid the chaos, I just stared at him. Blood dripped from his hand onto the pavement. Amelia, are you okay? He asked, a strained smile on his face. I couldn't speak. His smile widened, terrible and jagged, yet it made me want to cry. He shakily lifted his injured hand to wipe my tears, but it was the wrong arm, the bleeding one. Blood smeared across my cheek. Hiss, he winced. Don't cry, Amelia. The police took the family away. I went with Liam in the ambulance. The cut on his arm was deep. The doctor stitched it up and said he needed to stay in the hospital for observation. I ran on adrenaline, handling one emergency after another. Only when the nurse hung his fore and moved to the next patient did exhaustion hit. The quiet beeping of the monitor and the slow drip of the fore filled the room. I looked at Liam, a million thoughts swirling. I had thought he hated me, that he wanted to end our engagement. Yet he had thrown himself in front of a knife for me. So, Mom, Dad, I've been so selfish. While Liam slept, I spoke to my parents, who had rushed to the hospital. I get it now. Liam is a good person. He sees me as a friend. Even if our families don't merge, we need to stay business partners. We have to repay his kindness. I heard movement from the room. You two go to the police station and sort things out, I told my parents. I'll stay here and look after Liam. I opened the door. Liam was awake, looking toward me with anxiety. Where did you go? My heart fluttered. I forced it down. We're friends. Just friends. My parents were here, I said. You were asleep, so I didn't want to wake you. Friends. 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 I repeated it silently. Okay, he said simply. I just wanted you to be here with me. The little angel and devil on my shoulders started arguing. Would Captain America want Bucky with him all the time? Liam called his parents. I don't know what he said, but they never came. My parents handled my work duties, leaving me with nothing to do but sit in the hospital room with him. For the first hours, he made small talk. Then the anesthetic wore off. His lips pressed into a thin, white line, sweat broke out on his forehead, and his breathing became heavy. Does it hurt a lot? I asked, helpless. Maybe you should try to sleep. It might hurt less if you rest. Will you stay here? He asked. Of course, I promised. The room grew quiet. His breathing slowed, steadying. In the stillness, my eyelids became heavy. I dreamed we were in love. He kissed my forehead softly, reverently. We walked hand in hand, his large hand enveloping mine. My heart overflowed with the warm, giddy feeling of being loved. I woke with a goofy smile still on my face and felt something real, undeniable. Our hands were clasped, palm to palm. My heart pounded. I knew, with certainty, I was falling for him. The door opened. I snatched my hand back. It was Liam's parents. Liam stirred, looking much better. Mom, he began. Mrs. Vance. I interrupted before anyone else could speak. Liam had gone through so much because he wanted to end our engagement. I had to be the one to cut this short, to nip whatever I was feeling in the bud before I did something truly foolish, like confess my own feelings. Feeling ridiculously noble, I squared my shoulders, facing the 3 pairs of eyes fixed on me. Mrs. Vance, Liam and I have already discussed it, I announced. We're calling off the engagement. Liam's eyes widened, filled with an emotion I couldn't read. His mother came over and gently took my hand. Why, dear? Did Liam do something to upset you? I led her into the hallway. Mrs. Vance, Liam is in love with someone else, I explained softly but firmly. He's been so good to me. I don't want to stand in his way anymore. She exhaled a long, heavy sigh. You're both adults. We can't tell you what to do. But Amelia, I really am fond of you. A lump formed in my throat as I hugged her. Thank you for understanding. I'll leave you two to talk. As I walked away, I heard a faint whistling sound, like a kettle about to boil. I frowned. Did they bring a kettle with them? And just like that, Liam disappeared from my life. My parents told me the doctors had found some complications from his accident. He was rambling about needing to do something important, but because of his history of running off, his parents kept him under strict supervision at the hospital. Sometimes I'd stumble upon one of his things still left behind at my apartment and feel a pang of nostalgia. Living with him felt like a dream. But work consumed me, and I didn't have the energy to dwell on it. One evening, my assistant knocked on my office door. Miss Ross, your mother has selected a gown for tonight's gala. When would you like to change? I glanced at my calendar.
Right.
The gala my mother had been insisting I attend. You broke up with Liam, fine, she'd said. But you need to meet other eligible young men. I couldn't win the argument, so I'd agreed. Let's go, I said, signing the last contract. Let's get this over with. The dress was stunning. Deep crimson silk that shimmered in the light, tailored perfectly to me. I knew I'd turn heads when I walked in. I just didn't expect one of those heads to belong to Liam. He was in a bespoke suit, looking sharp and powerful, exuding an aura of command completely unlike the man who had lived in my apartment. This was the Liam I'd met at our engagement dinner. I swallowed the lump in my throat and moved toward a group of people on the far side of the room. Small talk was tedious. My feet hurt. I was about to slip away when the chatter behind me grew louder. From the corner of my eye, I saw a tall figure stop beside me. It was Liam. What was he doing here? He intercepted people who tried to talk to me, cut into my conversations, and when I reached for a mini cheesecake, he gently stopped my hand. It has mango in it. You're allergic. I shot him a glare and turned to leave. The mermaid-style dress made it difficult to walk quickly, but I refused to lose my composure. He followed easily, his long strides keeping pace a few steps behind. When we reached a secluded corner, my anger burst free. What is your problem, Liam? My life doesn't revolve around you. We're adults. We both know what these events are for. We called off the engagement, so stop interfering with my attempts to meet other people. I took a breath, my voice shaking. I'm grateful you protected me. I told my mother you're a good person, that I'd be happy to be your friend. I ended the engagement because I knew it's what you wanted. I didn't want to make things difficult for you. But tonight you're acting like you're interested in me, in front of everyone, when we both know that's not true. The words got stuck in my throat. I was afraid of what he would say if I spoke them out loud. And I was afraid that if I really examined my feelings, he'd see the truth. That the only thing I really cared about was whether or not he liked me back. He reached up and brushed his thumb across my cheek. His touch was warm, but cool drops of moisture clung to my skin. I was crying. Amelia, don't cry, he said, his voice trembling. He finished my sentence for me. But tonight, I'm here, bothering you again. I'm making things difficult for you, aren't I? He looked down at me, his eyes overflowing with a pain that mirrored my own. I messed up. Can I please explain?
Fine.
Explain? I said, crossing my arms and taking a step back. The confident man in the suit seemed to deflate. His shoulders drooped, his eyes wide and sad. Can we go to your place? And if you still want me to leave after, I'll take my things with me. The familiar Liam, the vulnerable one, was back. The no I wanted to say got tangled on my tongue. The little voices in my head were silenced by one screaming yes. I nodded. I was convinced he had put a spell on me. How else could he be back in my apartment? How else could he find the slippers I hadn't thrown away and slip them on with a happy sigh? How else could he walk into my office and see the model airplane, still proudly displayed on the shelf? Before he even started explaining, my face was already burning. He picked up the airplane. I'm so glad you didn't throw this away, he said, exhaling in relief. I've been going crazy these past few weeks, trying to figure out what I said that made you think I wanted to end our engagement. Was it after I got drunk, when I said, "So you remember?" He looked down at the model, a wounded expression on his face. "This airplane, we made it together as kids for that competition. I never forgot you, Amelia. I always knew there was something different about you. It wasn't until I was a teenager that I realized it was a crush." He continued, his voice steady, but tinged with regret. "Then you went abroad, and I never found the right moment to reconnect. And then the accident happened, and I forgot we were even engaged. I ran away to your house, determined to win you over from this fiancé I didn't even know was me. I just made a mess of everything. You got angry, I ended up in the hospital, and my parents found a blood clot in my brain. They put me on strict supervision. Took my phone, everything. It wasn't until a few days ago that the clot dissolved, and I remembered everything." I stared at him, all my confusion snapping into place. He really did like me. I wasn't just pining alone. "Amelia? Why aren't you saying anything?" His voice was hoarse. His knuckles gripped the airplane tightly. A playful impulse took over. I smiled. "I think there's one more thing you forgot to say." He frowned, uncertainty flickering across his face. A bold thought pushed through. "I love you," he said, steady and earnest. "Will you be with me?" This time, luck was on his side. "Yes," I whispered, my heart soaring. My parents' reaction? Typical. "It's about time. We saw this coming a mile away. In the time it took you two to figure it out, we could have had another kid." They just didn't get it. Of course, Liam moved back in. He became a constant, delightful distraction. 11:30 p.m. He poked his head into my office. "I'm going to bed now." "Okay," I said without looking up from my contract. He lingered in the doorway. "But I can't find my pajamas, so I'll probably just sleep in my underwear." I flipped a page. "Got it." He shuffled his feet. "And I won't lock the door. So you can come in any time if you need anything." He leaned in conspiratorially. "Maybe. I won't even wear underwear." I slammed the contract shut.
Enough.
"I'm not coming in to bother you." He froze. His face fell. "Do you even love me?" he wailed. "You didn't remember the airplane. And when you thought I wanted to end the engagement, you just went along with it." I rubbed my temples. Since we'd gotten together, he'd perfected this pitiful, guilt-inducing routine designed to get what he wanted. Tonight, he walked in and took the contract from my hands. "Amelia?" he murmured, sweeping me into his arms. His face buried in my neck, his lips soft against my skin. "Stop," I gasped. "Not in the office, okay?" His body pressed against mine, strong and warm, arms like a steel trap. "Then where?" "The bed." "Yes, yes." I nodded eagerly.